Well done.
We are. Perfect. Okay, so listen, hello everybody, and thank you for dialing in. My name is Angela Forbes, and I am one of the co-founders of BuildForce. Now, we are a construction industry initiative who support our service leavers and veterans as they transition into long-term careers in construction. Now, construction covers everything from engineering to infrastructure to logistics, and it includes the multi-billion-pound projects like HS2, Crossrail, Highways England, and every shopping centre, office block and residential in between. Now, we'll hear more about the projects from our speakers in a moment, but construction is one of the few sectors where your efforts and a hard day's work can be literally seen. It's outdoors, it's working in a team, it's leading a team. And with the UK construction industry being global leaders in innovation, technology, design and engineering, we are lucky that it is here on our doorstep and it is a possible career option for you. Now, I'm joined today by 4 speakers who will discuss their roles, their transition and what industry has to offer. So our first speaker is Caroline Logan, the BuildForce Programme Director. We will then hear from Kay Stevenson, Planning Manager with MACE and ex-RAF. Kay is joined by Michaela Dodd, MACE Recruitment Lead, and also from a military family. And our final speaker is Paul Bedford, Senior Logistics Manager with the AKFB on HS2, and he himself is ex-Royal Logistics Corps. So we'll hear from our speakers first, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. But I am delighted to pass to Caroline to discuss more about what BuildForce has to offer. And we'll switch our cameras off, Caroline.
Oh, thanks, Angela. I was going to say good morning, everyone, but it's the afternoon, isn't it? So, yeah, my name's Caroline Logan. I am the Programme Director for BuildForce. I guess I'm the boots on the ground. I connect our military personnel to our employers and the wider industry sector. So before I kick off and just give you a little bit of a whistle-stop journey of BuildForce, I'm just going to share with you one of our Insight Days that was hosted by Bovis Homes. So hopefully if I can get the tech to work, it is coming your way. So just bear with me while I click around. Hopefully you can see that, and if you can't, can someone shout? So there's silence. I'm going to continue.
I can't see anything, Caroline.
I can't see anything yet.
Oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. Oh no, I didn't click share my screen, that'd be why. Hold on 1 second. Share content. Okay, let me know if you can't see. I think you can see now because we're surrounded.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's go then.
I got involved in BuildForce because I could see the real benefits of working with the military.
I served for 25 years in the Royal Engineers, and so you might think it's natural to join the construction industry, but I never thought I would. And in fact, my role is very much about cultural change. But it's great to see so many employees here, and more importantly than that, so many service leaders wanting to join the construction industry.
I got first introduced to BuildForce through a company called Wilson James, who I was doing some consultancy through after leaving the army. I then promptly registered with BuildForce. and then contacted them on finishing a contract in the Middle East through Caroline Logan. And it was a wholly positive experience from start to finish.
I'd worked with people that had forces backgrounds in the past and saw the skills were transferable. And so it just seemed a logical step to do.
I think the key things that everyone in the sector is looking for is a can-do attitude, the willingness to go the extra mile, and to be part of a team. And it's that commitment, I think, that stands the military apart from some others. And you know what you're getting in the military in terms of somebody who will really graft, and that's hugely valuable to employers.
So I wanted to share that with you because I really do think that is the essence of BuildForce and why we're doing this, why we're working with you guys, but also to say, delighted to say that we do have our next Armed Forces Insight Day scheduled for September the 15th at RAF Cosford, hosted by Amy, and we'll have some of our key industry players there. So definitely worth attending. So please do get in touch. Right, so I'm going to hit share my screen again, and I'm going to share a presentation with you and just take you through the BuildForce program. So again, please let me know if it's not working.
That's it, Caroline. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Okay. So Angela gave you a little bit of a background to the programme. We are a UK-wide alliance of employers, industry bodies and charities established with a mission of transitioning yourselves into new careers in the construction sector and the wider built environment. Through identifying your transferable skills, of which there are many, creating bespoke career plans and assigning industry mentors and work placements, we've helped a great number of military personnel to establish not just jobs, but new and fulfilling careers where your experience directly corresponds to industry needs, labour shortages and skills gaps. I have to say, we are not a recruitment agency. We offer much more than that. We offer a wraparound support service from cradle to grave, and we open a door to a rich networking platform for you. So why have we chosen construction? Well, on average, that's 14 to 16,000 individuals leave the armed forces every year. That's you, with an incredible 217,000 new recruits needed by 2025. Angela mentioned some of the projects. They're there. HS2, we are the military broker for HS2, bringing so many opportunities from Midlands to London. And then the next phase is Northwest and Yorkshire. You know, that's from engineers to project management to logistics. The breadth is wide. So with Boris declaring Build Back Better, we are an incredibly buoyant sector, but facing a huge skills shortage. And our employers have identified that the armed forces are a network, a talent pool that we should be tapping into. So that's great news for all of us. So BuildForce simply matches military skills to construction demands. That broad spectrum of roles that the industry is seeking complements the skill sets you all train for. So a job in construction isn't just about being on the tools. That's a myth. It is in fact accessible to all ranks and skill sets and offers real potential for career progression. But we'll let Michaela from Mace go into that further detail later. So as I said, we offer a wraparound support service, and here's your journey. So following your registration with us, you are then given an induction call with one of our industry leads. And this is an important call for both of us. This helps us to get to know you better, understand those transferable skills and where they'll best sit in the sector when we map out a bespoke career plan for you. And knowing where your skill sets sit lets us know who we can then connect you to in industry. So once you're registered and inducted to the programme, you have access to our bespoke online learning modules. We teamed up with the University of College of Estate Management, and following research with our veterans and employers, they came up with 5 modules to help you better understand the sector. These modules are Intro to Construction, Building Surveyor, Quantity Surveyor, Project Manager and Site Manager. These modules help you take your first step towards becoming site and employment ready and provides a better understanding of the sector as defined by our employers. So we have our mental health and well-being support, very important during your transition and beyond. We have an in-house psychologist who can offer one-to-one counselling for an as-needs basis. And we also offer monthly mental health and stress management seminars, fantastic virtual interactive session, which I definitely recommend you attend. So following your induction, we then assign you with an industry mentor according to skill set, location and seniority. The mentor really is important to your resettlement, your transition. They will help support you in that career growth, that desired discipline. They'll answer any technical advice you have, that go-to person to ask that question that when you're in an interview, well, A, it's too late, and B, you wouldn't ask the question. They'll also connect you further within their network and identify any in-house opportunities. Industry exposure. So through our alliance partners, we identify job opportunities and placements. And I can't recommend doing a placement enough, a work placement enough. It allows you to explore that desired discipline further. And perhaps there are two career paths you're thinking of at the moment to take. So it will really define which career path you want to go or don't want to go. It's also a fantastic opportunity for you to showcase those transferable skills, to network with the employer and the wider supply chain. And it's definitely a conduit to employment. We've placed a lot of candidates in employment following a successful work placement. And lastly, evaluation and feedback. We are constantly in touch with our candidates. We know everyone that's registered to BuildForce. They're not just a name on a page. It's our one-to-one humanistic approach that sets us apart from other initiatives. And as we really get to know you, that's what supports that sustainable employment, to make sure we are securing you a sustainable employment, not just a job. So here we have some of your key competences in alignment with industry needs, or as we like to term it, parallel lines. A military posting is very, very similar to life on a construction site, working part of a team, that camaraderie, working outside in arduous, often dangerous conditions. And you have so many skills to bring to the sector, but a couple that I'd like to point out is that innovation thinking. That innovative thinking, beg your pardon, that ability to think outside the box and bring fresh ideas to the table. And secondly, we're hearing more and more from our employers. We can teach technical skills, but we cannot teach leadership and management. And that's a core part of your training, and it's hugely appealable to the sector. So that's it from me, a bit of a whistle-stop journey, but just to say, look, I am here to support you as much as you need, to connect you to industry, to advise you as much as we can, and just help you into that exciting next chapter that's ahead of you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I am going to hand the baton to one of our success stories, one of our females. I'm going to pass over to former RAF, Kay Stevenson. Over to you, Kay.
Thank you, Caroline. So my name's Kay. I joined the Royal Air Force back in 2011 as a logistics mover. I was medically discharged last year in November. I had a long-term medical condition, which meant that I had quite a long period of time to plan my discharge. So through my resettlement officer, I was able to trigger my discharge, trigger my resettlement early. So because I was logistics, I didn't really want to pursue a logistics career when I left the military. I decided I wanted to start looking at construction because I had an interest in historical buildings and their preservation. So I decided I wanted to start looking at a building surveying degree. So looking into this, I looked at what I would need to start pursuing a degree. So I decided I was going to do an access to higher education in construction. So this took me 9 months to complete, and I completed this in September of 2019. I then started my degree in March 2020, which I started through the University College of Estate Management, which is also the university that helps with BuildForce modules. And I'm due to complete this in 2024. I actually found BuildForce through CTP, and I started attending their virtual workshops and things through them. So I was linked up with a mentor called Jay, who is currently working on the Battersea project with as a senior logistics manager, and he invited me up to go and visit the site in October, which was a fantastic opportunity. And I met some other people that were not just logistics, but also some engineers, which gave me that insight of not just logistics, but other jobs that are available. And after that, I was lucky enough to be offered an interview within the consultancy side of the business. But due to the pandemic, there were limited opportunities within the roles that I was looking at. So my application was put on hold. So I decided to go for a temping job at a local supermarket close to me, which was also a good opportunity because I got that different teamwork, that different dynamic from working within the military, and that gave me, a different opportunity to start integrating within different teams that was different to the military dynamic. I then got a call again from Mace within the new year to interview for a different job within planning within a defence contract, which I interviewed for in February. So I started the job in March. So I'm an assistant planning manager within a defence job. So on a weekly basis, I basically build schedules for the project. So I do this basically using my skills from being a logistics mover, from using the planning skills that I gained while in the military, and I update the schedule weekly by speaking to the planning managers. I question any differences that were within the schedule. Basically try and ensure that it's all delivered on time. I also send out reports to any key stakeholders within the project. I joined the Mace Military Network when I started working for Mace, which Michaela will talk about in a bit more detail when I start speaking, when I pass over to her in a moment. There's also other networks within Mace that you can join if you get the opportunity to work with them, such as Women at Mace, which I'm also part of. So I shall hand over to Michaela. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Kay. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for attending. Yeah, there's been some references to Mace, so I'll do a little intro on who we are, and then I've got a few slides that will explain who the Mace Military Network are, and I'll just talk you through some of the successes we've had, and hopefully dispel some of the myths about what roles are available in construction. So I've been with Mace a decade. My key focus has been to recruit for our construction delivery business, and actually my work with the military network and bringing in more military hires has actually leaned more on our consultancy business. So it's been a learning journey for me as well. So I've learned more about Mace throughout this period as well, which is great. So just a quick overview of who we are. We're more than 6,000 people strong. We have 5 global hubs across the world, sort of out in Asia Pac. We have the Middle East. We've got Europe and the UK. Now from the UK, we do work across Europe doing data centres, but definitely our international business tends to be much more far-flung across the world. So if you're somebody who's looking to travel beyond your military career, then there's certainly a lot on offer there that I think some of our competitors don't necessarily have. But we are a London-centric business that has now moved out into a lot of the regions with our work. So the sectors that we work in are infrastructure, which obviously covers some of the projects that Caroline was talking at the beginning. We're a big player in HS2 and a JV with Regardos, so we're doing Euston Station, and we've just won Curzon Street in the Midlands. And outside of that, we work with the Highways Agency. We have a lot of work in energy, so we have a lot in the nuclear space. So we're on Sizewell. At present is one of our big projects, and Hinkley Point as well, so Hinkley Point C. So that has meant that a lot of our requirements are now in the regions, which is where we've had some great success with military hires, because I think there's a lot of people don't necessarily want to be in the rat race, moving into and commuting into London. So it's been fantastic to look at these kind of hubs across the UK in the southwest and in the north, and be able to draw on that talent pool. So yeah, that's definitely opened up that space. The other areas, obviously, we work in defence, which we again have placed a good number of candidates in there. But I guess we're keen to demonstrate that somebody with a service leaver could go into any aspect of our business. We also have our construction delivery business, which is predominantly in London. So we're working on projects like Battersea Power Station as a sort of key project. Most of we did the Shard, and below that with the same client, we're doing Shard Place. We do a mixture of commercial office, residential, fit out. And within all our projects and across all that space, we have our group technical services, which is our engineering division. We have MEP, where we do some self-delivery of mechanical, electrical, and we also have facades. The health and safety and wellbeing teams sit across the whole piece. So they're what we call like a practice model. So they would work across our consult and our construct business. Again, that's an area where we've placed some people with a military background. So I think that the great thing at Mace is that we're no one thing. We are working in so many different areas. Obviously, data centres with the recent pandemic and people working at home has exploded for us. So that is an area where there'll be a good demand of and a volume of recruitment, I would say, throughout the rest of this year and definitely into 2022. So I guess there's a lot there to whet people's appetite. We have definitely pushed ourselves out there into the construction world with our diversity and inclusion policy, and some of the networks that Kay referenced are part of that. So we do have our WAM network, we have the Eden network, we also have, I'm going to forget something, our enabled network, which we've reached out to CTP Assist to see if there's something we can do in that space, and also we have the Mace Military Network, which is one of our inclusion networks. So I'm going to do a little slide about the military network so you understand what that means at Mace. We're a small but mighty and growing by the day. So this year we've made more than that, apologies. We've made 32 offers, and of that we've got 27 people that are already in the business or will join in the next few months. And they are a combination of people coming direct from the military and people that have also had some industry experience. And within that, as Kay said, we've got an assistant planner, we've got health and safety managers, we've got project managers, we've got program managers, people working in our PMO space, risk managers, and lots of project managers across consult, which are working with local government, with MOJ, and some people have gone into our strategic advisory business, which sits across the whole piece. So it really is a diverse range of opportunities, and of those hires, we're just about to offer another female candidate, and that would put us at 25% female as well, which I think is mightily impressive. And our relationship with BuildForce has really driven that success. You know, Caroline, Angela, they understand the industry, they understand what transferable skills they are, and they come you know, with great knowledge and experience of what the, you know, the military roles are, and also now, you know, a great understanding of what the roles are at Mace, how we define them and what we're looking for. I mean, the key thing I'd say is our values at Mace are our safety, you know, is that's, you know, everybody goes home safe. Integrity is one of our core values. Our client focus, you know, is also a, you know, a key you know, key value for us, and creating opportunity. And in our experience, people with a military background bring all those things. So it's about seeing past what somebody has been doing, breaking down their skills within that and matching them to our organisation, and building on that and developing those people. So that's where we are now. I'll give you a very quick overview of the military network. Probably gonna have the same problems as Caroline here, trying to present something. You see.
That's it, we can see that.
You can see that. Okay, but look, I'm only going to go through the first couple of slides that are relevant to what we're doing, but it's just to give you a flavour. So this is, we have a committee that runs the Mace Military Network. We have a chair, we have somebody who, in fact, I'll flick onto that. You can see these. So these are all the key players at Mace, and I would say 80% of these people have a military background. I don't. But my brother, you can see there in the middle, Jay, was in the military for a long time, and he was a late entry officer. So yeah, across here is all the people that work within the Mace organisation to create opportunities for people, and also to give us a purpose within the organisation that is outside of our day-to-day roles. To understand what we bring, and you know, I'll go through now just quickly. On this slide here, hopefully you can all see it and it's big enough. This is our sort of journey. So it was 2016, the military network was set up, and at that point it was predominantly you know, commissioned people from the Royal Engineers that were coming in and taking project management opportunities in our defence business, and that's really where it grew from. And then suddenly we realised there was a talent pool there we weren't tapping into, and now, you know, that is spread across all ranks, all different you know, of different corps. And you know, I think now we're really much more open to looking at the origins of you know, from the military, and not just looking in one space, which has definitely created lots of opportunity. We signed the Armed Forces Covenant, then we got our silver in 2017. We improved our commitment to the reservists, and like I say, we now continue to pay people's full salary when they're doing their 10 days training. Then we did the charity dinner, which was fantastic. We actually did it in a military location. We invited our supply chain, so the people that were working on our projects, and as you can see there, we raised £30,000, which was split across different charities, but we lead with Help for Heroes. So there was that was a really great event, and again showcased what military people bring to who we are as an organisation, and what we can do for our community, for that engagement, and like I say, driving through those core values through the business. I can't read the next one. I can't see it on my own page, I'm afraid. Oh yeah, and then we were part of the inclusion strategy, which, like I say, we joined that. So, you know, we were recognised, I guess, for what we're doing as a network, and some of the challenges that people faced. You know, and there was some great stories of how people came out from the military and perhaps couldn't make that connection and find that journey into industry, and then they found their home at Mace. And understanding that sometimes that transition isn't, you know, as straightforward, but what can we do to support that? We then got our gold, you know, our gold standard there for the employee recognition scheme, which was a great celebration for us all. You know, again, you know, we did a Remembrance Day service for the whole business, and then this year in 2021, we have set up the CV review board, which that is a great opportunity for us to invite along stakeholders and hiring managers in the business that are looking to recruit in different hubs across the country. So it's typically UK centric. They come along, and then myself and some of the military network who obviously understand the skills and experience that you've picked up during your time in the military, and they can translate that. So they help the hiring managers understand where the skills match and how much value you can add. Also quite transparent about the level of development you would need in terms of some of your industry experience, but also a great advocate for all the things that are already there that really in some spaces we couldn't teach. So that's been really successful, and again with Caroline's help of you know, each month talking to her about where the opportunities lie, and her helping me to put the BuildForce candidates in, you know, into that space and promote them to potential hiring managers and create opportunity. And I think that's in no small part has been you know, a great support to where we are and the number of people we're bringing in, and I'm hoping by the end of the year I will be saying that number has reached 50. So yeah, like I say, it's been fantastic, all the help we've had, so thank you. And finally on there, we're putting together a military training program that hopefully for service leavers that are coming straight into Mace, it will give them almost like a mature graduate style. It'd be like a cyclical training of sort of a, you know, a day of sort of classroom training, then some on-site experience that will just help them to build their knowledge of the construction industry and the Mace business. And then at the end of that year and that cycle, we would look to place them either in their current role or in another role across the business. But again, that will create more volume of opportunities because the business will know that this training program will support the service leavers when they arrive and help to bridge any of the gaps of their industry knowledge. So yeah, that's where we are. I feel like I've talked a lot there, but I hope it's been informative, and I hope that helps you to see where Mace are in their journey, and hopefully what we can present in the future when you're ready to move, you know, on from your military career. So thank you.
Thank you for that. And we can pass to Paul Bedford, our final speaker. That was incredible. Thank you.
Hi. Well, it always amazes me sort of being sat here. It only seems like yesterday that I was in your chair. And I'll pop up my slide there. It's just another picture of me, and because I'm not vain enough. Yeah, it seems like only yesterday that I was sat in CTP, worrying about where my career was going. I did 10 years in the Royal Logistic Corps and made a decision to leave after well, largely personal circumstances. And when people ask me about it, I very much say it felt like a leap of faith, unlike a traditional job. Like now, if I wanted to leave this place where I am now, I would find a job first and then submit my notice. Whereas the situation that I suspect most of you, if not all of you, are in, it's you either come to the end of your career and that deadline, that date is looming, or indeed you've made that decision to leave for whatever reason, and again you've got that date, but certainly uncertain about what happens next. And with that leap of faith, you're very much hoping that parachute opens before that date or ground zero hits you. And whilst I could sit here and talk about my journey, and I will a little bit, I suppose I really want to just reassure you that everybody that I know that has left the military have found themselves in a position of employment, whether or not it's through BuildForce, in construction, or in any other industry. Speaking from a service leaver, somebody who left 3 years ago, there are always people out there to help you, and the military network is far extends the walls of wearing green, blue, or whatever colour you wear, and it's really reassuring. Now, for me, I didn't consider a career in construction. 10 years in the Royal Logistic Corps, having worked in commercial logistics prior, and for my sins studied logistics at university. I went down the traditional route of thinking, that's all I know. Let's go for those blue chip companies, your DHLs, your Amazons, your Eddie Stobarts. And whilst I'm not belittling them at all, it's that they're successful companies in themselves. I didn't consider construction at all, and it was only on a chance conversation with one of my former CEOs that he recommended reaching out to BuildForce. And as Caroline rightly said at the beginning, BuildForce isn't a job agency. It won't even guarantee you a job, but what they do offer is that personal service and people there that genuinely do care about you and see the value that you have to offer. And as I say to people that I support that come through from Caroline and from Angela and from other people in BuildForce, if you take one thing away, even if that one thing is you don't want to work in construction, it's helped you on that journey of transition. Now, when I left, when I got in touch with BuildForce. Very soon afterwards, Caroline had set me up with a mentor. In fact, it was Angela who took what I thought was an amazing CV and tore it apart, all very constructively and for the better. And from that, set me up with some opportunities to go and visit people in established construction firms. And from that, I was able to get a real feel of what construction is and the wider opportunities. And it isn't just about bricks and mortar, digging holes or driving, operating plant. Whether or not you're working in logistics like I do, working in the environmental side, security, working in finance, the opportunities are absolutely huge. Myself, I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to promote in the business from just from coming in as initially as a logistic manager to now being the senior logistic manager. But in my team itself, I'm sharing office with an individual who's ex-RAF. He joined us through BuildForce. One of my logistic managers, another ex-BuildForce individual who I mentored, Royal Marine, and of the 6 logistic managers that work as part of my team, not including myself, 2/3 of them are ex-military, and that extends far wider into the business as well. My counterpart, a gentleman named James Dobson, who's our senior security manager, who heads up security for 80 kilometres of the HS2 construction, ex-Royal Military policeman, and it really sort of builds on that. Those points that were being said about those transferable skills, and it isn't about the ability to build a railway or build a bridge or help erect a building. It's those skills that you bring as somebody who has come from the military, the living your life by those core values, having the right attitude. Everything else you can teach, and yes, I might be coming from a biased standpoint, but I look at my team and those people that I trust and to get the job done, to make the right decisions, are those which have got a military background. And I feel really empowered by having those individuals around me. And I know that people throughout the business always speak very highly of those individuals that are ex-military. And as I say, the skills are identical, even when you take away those core values. You know, I'm going to change the slide now. I've only got 3. It's pretty much the same picture, except I'm just wearing a different color there, helmet, PPE. And then when you start looking at some of the things that I do now today, looking at EPLS, getting ready for a construction combat logistic patrol in Afghanistan. Our logistic operation here at EKFB is built on RoRos, which is in essence a civilianized version of an EPLS. moving a piece of armor, moving a piling rig, or just engaging with the local public about HS2 is very similar to engaging on whether or not it's training or on operations that you conducted in the past. The same skill sets can be applied. And then driving back to that point about not being just a job agency, a recruitment agency, the work that I've done with individuals to help develop their CVs, transfer what they believe is, and I did very much at the time, what you've put into a CV that you think is understandable by somebody who has got limited or no military experience, just helping to tease out that the information, going back to the combat estimate, the so what does that mean? I managed a team. Okay, but what size team? What did you do with that team? How did you walk away from that team as and leaving them as a better team or better individuals within? And then as well, it's what else businesses who like EKFB, like Mace, and those other ones that support BuildForce understand what ex-military people have to bring. I was given 2 weeks off last month to use some of my enhanced learning credits. I've got more training courses booked next month, and I came out of a meeting this morning with our delivery director, who was telling me all about how some of our strategic partners who operate some of the large bits of plant you might see on helping to develop skill sets, taking people from having no construction experience all the way through to operating some of the largest bits of plants we'll find in the UK. So there is so much to offer within construction. And what I've also found as well, the amount of people that I've bumped into, whether or not it's directly in my organisation within HS2 or in wider through BuildForce, who I've met in my military career, or indeed who I've just got a story we can laugh and joke about. You've instantly got that connection there, and you build up that rapport. So rather than say giving you that message of what I've done, it's really hopefully I've conveyed to you sort of very briefly, very succinctly that BuildForce does provide you with benefit. It's absolutely free to sign up to, and there are a team of people who are willing to give their time, who completely empathize with you, understand the position that you are in right now, having been there, whether or not it's a month ago, whether or not it's like myself 3 years ago or longer, 10 years ago, that they genuinely see the skills that you have and want to help. And if all you get away from it is that an opportunity to go to a construction site or spend some time with somebody in construction and decide construction isn't for you, as I said at the beginning, what it has done, it's helped pave that way for you to find a career that you want to follow once you've left the military. Thanks for listening to me, Caroline. And hand back over to you.
Paul, that was fantastic. Thank you very much. Can I ask our speakers to put their cameras back on? And we'll do some Q&A. If you do have any questions, please type them in the box or raise your hand. Meantime, I'll kick off with something. Caroline, Kay had referenced the virtual career chats. So can you explain a bit more about them?
Yeah, I put a link in the chat box actually for everyone. So we launched our virtual career chats. I mean, we always say a negative comes out of a positive. So when COVID struck, we realised that we couldn't get our boys and girls to site. We couldn't do any armed forces insight days. So we sat down and thought, how can we bring sight to our candidates in the safety of their own home? And thus our virtual career chats were born. So in essence, what they are is we have 2 of our veteran employers and also a resource lead focusing on a core discipline. So we've got project manager ones there, site managers, logistics, QSs, and then we've got some employer-led ones. So I think there's one there from Amy. We did one with Highways England. And then because we are the military broker, we have our HS2 series. EKFB are up next week, actually. That's their turn next week. So all virtual, all fantastic, all on our website, and a fantastic resource.
Fantastic. And we've got a question from Birendra, if you're able to unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm in Royal Engineer at the moment. And in the Royal Engineer, I have a role as an electrical engineer in airfield for the timing for the next these 2 years. I'm out soon. During my career in Royal Engineer, we do lots of in my trade, we do lots of project management because we do lots of construction. I got some qualification like APM and NEBOS. and got a master's in project management and degree in electrical management. Just wondering, because if I enroll with you guys, do I have to go through all the steps which you have shown on the first slide, or is there any process where I can tap into the basically gain experience with the civilian industry rather than going through all the steps? Just to let you know, in 2 weeks' time, I'll be doing site experience with one of the construction company, and my GRT leaves are already in line to use in certain kind of courses. So how can you help me if I have to, if I come to you?
Okay, Belinda, I'll kick off and then I'll pass over to Caroline, but you're probably more trains than many in civvy streets, which is often the way with the military guys. But I think probably what I would say is the initial induction, we just run through just what quals you've got. And again, APMP and having a safety qualification helps. And it's just how the programme can best support you and take you forward. So for some people, they just want to get closer to a discipline and better understand it if it's a viable route. For others, they want to just get out on site and get in amongst it. For others, they just maybe want to speak to somebody about 2 or 3 options that they're toying with. But what BuildForce are there to do in essence is just get you closer to what your final target is essentially, and just support you through that transition. But I'll pass to Caroline just to finish that off.
Yeah, so just to add to that, Brenda, that candidate process is the whole programme, and no one candidate is the same. So we adapt it to each person's needs. So in your case, the induction is vital because that's how we really get to know you and where you are at and what you've got to give. So in your case, it would be about getting you connected at the right levels. So we would, so mentors or network, however you want to phrase it. So we'd start connecting you to employers within the same area that you're looking to get into, get you on site, get you some work placements, and also identify job opportunities. But yeah, you're a dream to work with. Come on, get registered.
Okay, and just on that, and it's a question for Kay. Kay, you mentioned that you were allocated a mentor, a BuildForce mentor. What were the types of conversations that you were having with them?
So I actually had 2. Paul was one of them who helped me with my CV, and he did do exactly what you did, pull it apart and help me sort of allocate and sort of talk through quantifying it exactly like he said earlier in talking about that. So Paul had helped me with my CV, and then Jay, we had conversations about that sort of the key skills and how I could put those into the job interview process, and how I could sort of relate them into the roles that I was going to be looking at within consultancy, because there's that difference within what you've got from sort of the military side to what you've got within industry, because there's that sort of gap difference with sort of the commercial side of things, and even with starting work with a commercial business, I found that sort of that gap in knowledge. But as Michaela said in her presentation, there's some great people out there within industry that are really willing to help you, and that's a great part of the networking, that people are willing to help, especially sort of ex-military or even other people in the community that are willing to help you out, and that camaraderie sort of still there, and people are always willing to help you out and explain stuff to you as long as you're willing to ask.
Yeah, no, very much so. Sorry, Caroline.
Yeah, can I just add on the mentoring part for Kay as well? So being hooked up with Jay at Mace and also hooked up with Paul at EKFB was also connections to job opportunities, because Kay, there was interest with Kay for EKFB. She decided that wasn't the best route for her, but that came from her mentor. And then the same with Jay. Jay was able to identify where Kay would best sit in the business, and then further introduce her to others. So the mentor is key.
Yes, definitely.
And just on that point then, Kay, so obviously the mentor led to the roles, and it brought you to a planning role. Were you targeting that, or did you have to stay open-minded through that process?
I stayed open-minded. So as a logistics background, I'd worked within roles before that had led me sort of to planning. So it was it's basically sort of scheduling. So so I'd been in a scheduling role before, where I've been scheduling aircraft essentially at Bryce Norton. So yeah, I think have an open mind. If it's something that's a skill set that you've had before, then it's something that you could move within to construction. Then definitely keep an open mind. I had looked at sort of project management roles before, but didn't have any qualifications. So the job that I've currently got, they were looking at my soft skills, but I've had to have a sort of a training program on the program that I use, which is called P6, which is a scheduling program, and that was actually vital to the role that I applied for, but I didn't actually have that skill, but they were happy to overlook that because of all of the other skills that I had. So so I went into the business without having that sort of major part of the application process. So but yeah, definitely keep an open mind when you're applying for jobs.
Yeah, and how open-minded and how inclusive Mace are has been fantastic.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. There's a few more questions that have come in. Is Matt Bradford able to join us?
Sorry, it's Birendra again. So
Oh, hi,
can
Birendra.
sorry, can I finish my just one? I got another 9 months before I do my 24 years. When is the correct time to contact you guys for this kind of process?
Now.
Now, okay, that's great.
Earlier the better. Yeah.
Okay, that would. Thank you.
That's okay. You're very welcome. And Matt, sorry, are you able to unmute?
Hi, I'm looking at doing like a 360 course. Obviously, I've got no qualifications in it at the moment until well, I haven't got my ticket or anything. But like, what could you do to help me out with getting a job in well, like the southwest area?
Caroline?
So like Paul said, we don't have any magic wands, so we can't definitely secure employment. But what we would do is we would connect you to the local employers within the discipline that you're looking to get into, and whether that just starts as some mentoring and some work placements at first, and then also we'd do a call out to our local employers to see if they've got any opportunities. So it's just about connecting you really and making sure you've got access to those opportunities and everything you need.
Okay.
Can I add to that, Caroline? Networking isn't a dirty word. Nobody really enjoys it. It can be very awkward, but the more people you know, the more opportunities you tend to find, doors unlock. My job itself, I didn't go in for a job interview. I went in just to understand a bit about HS2, and I left with a job offer. So it can be absolutely anywhere that a job comes out of. But the way that they come about really is through getting to know people, and as we've sort of said throughout this, the people in the military are willing to help each other, and Caroline has so many contacts within construction, and where you might see construction jobs being advertised, the chances are Caroline will know somebody within that organisation, or if not, she'll make it her mission to find out. Because she's always adding to her portfolio of people to support those from all services.
Thanks.
And just on Brenda's point, the earlier you get in touch, Matt, the better and the easier that networking piece can be as well. So just don't believe in it to the 11th hour.
Okay.
Okay, you're very welcome. Just on the point that was made about the small and mighty Mace, which made me laugh. So there was certainly lots of contents there to whet the appetite. I think probably the CV review board you mentioned, and seeing past what's not on a CV, but rather what is. That's an incredible offering from an employer, a very informed, mature approach to employment. And I think layered with the military training programme guarantees that soft landing for the service leavers. So it needs to be fully applauded for what Mace are offering. And are you seeing that the candidates are lasting, they're progressing, they're flying when they get there?
Yeah. I mean, we had, that was one of the things, if I'm really honest, that got our board sponsor, Mark Holmes. So he was, all about doing the right thing. And Mark Reynolds, our CEO, had already signed the military covenant. But actually, it was when we started to talk about the statistic along how long people stay, and that we've got people who have had a double promotion, so they've gone up 2 grades since they've been there, because once they hit their stride, they've got all that basis of those great skills that some of our other guys have not had, and, you know, girls had experience with, that they then lifts them above once they get the industry experience, so that they have an accelerated career path. So he kind of was like, hang on a minute, why have we not got 200 of these people? And we're like, well, you know, it's not quite that simple. So that was when he sort of laid the challenge for us to look at the right routes, so that we are offering something that supports the service leaver, but we're investing in something that will pay dividends. So it's, you know, it's just, I think, you know, and Caroline has been on this journey with us. We're just hitting our stride now with this. It's all coming into play, and hopefully will support the numbers that he was initially talking about in, you know, in the next 2 to 3 years. We will be looking at that volume, because we have so many opportunities and are growing at such a rate. And, you know, we want a diverse and inclusive workforce, you know, and we want to make sure that we're building on that all the time. So yeah, I think there's lots of things we've put into place that definitely are shoring up our future as an employer of choice, and, you know, I hope we get to our goals for everyone.
Okay, thank you for that. And again, Paul, without embarrassing you, our poster boy, you've done incredibly well in industry at HS2. You've built an incredible team that really enjoy working with you. Do you feel the parallels with the armed forces and the training you received while serving has allowed you to transition and land so well? Do you still spend a lot of time upskilling and focusing and training and bettering yourself? Is it an ongoing process?
Absolutely, and it's not just bettering myself; it's bettering my team, and I'm always encouraging them to go out and find things that will help them develop them as themselves as individuals, and that's not just those in the military. Those that have served in the military. I've got a number of people that work for me that have not served, but they the way that I work with them and my managers work with them. We try and instill some of the values and the work ethos that we developed during our careers with the armed forces upon them. And even now, today, I'm sat in my office, which is at an MOD site at MOD Bicester. I work very closely with the garrison and with 1 regiment here, and we're actually doing what we can to support them, pumping money into the local garrison, and also providing opportunities for any of people from the nearby regiments to come along and really get a feel for what we're doing here.
Okay, fantastic. Just in our last few minutes, if there are any final questions. Obviously, the next big thing to hit the ex-military community, Caroline, will be our Insight Day. Is there any more information about that?
Absolutely. So our Insight Days, although I say it myself, are fantastic. And I only say that because I have developed them from like 5 people coming through the door to 90 people coming through the door. And we don't do death by PowerPoint. That's not the aim. We have a couple of our guest success stories at the beginning. Our host will have an opening speech, and then we break out into 3-hour employer symposium. So we'll have about 25 to 30 employers in the room, all from all parts of the sector, so plant, engineering, PM, etc. And also one thing to stress, you know, the location of the Insight Day has no relevance to the opportunities, because all of our employers have a nationwide presence. The other good thing about it is, as much as HR is great, they don't often know the technical side of the sector. So we always have a technical expert on each employer stand. So even if you're just thinking about the sector, dipping your toe, you want to come along for a little bit of information, it's great for that as well as opportunities.
Okay, fantastic. Well, from a civvy host, I have tried my hardest to stick to time. Don't want to be laughed at and mocked by all you service leavers watching, but I'll pass back to James just to close. But thank you to everybody who's dialed in and for the questions.
Thank you so much, Angela, and the team from BuildForce. Well, I hope you found that informative. I will follow up with an email with the recording and all the links that have been put in, and any other links you want me to share, Caroline, please let me know and I will share that with everybody. But apart from that, thank you so much, everybody, for your time, and I wish you all the best in your next endeavours. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for everything. Thank you. Take care.